Hello, in this video we will discuss about the anatomy of the heart. So the first of all we will understand about the external structure of heart. So this is we will all things will cover in this video. So this is the external structure of heart we will discuss first. So here is the heart which contain outer is the red color is showing that is the coronary artery. We will discuss about the coronary artery also. So the back side of the coronary artery without the filling of the red color is the back side. So here is the aorta and this is the right pulmonary artery and the left pulmonary artery, and this is the superior vena cava, while this is the downside is the inferior vena cava, which that is collect the deoxygenated blood from the downside of the body, while the upper part is the superior vena cava, while here is the left pulmonary artery. So this is the inferior vena cava, and that is pulmonary artery, which that is blood move to the lungs through a pulmonary artery, while the pulmonary vein is collect the blood toward the heart, and that is known as the vein. So this is the single vein and artery which that is contain opposite oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. So this is the left atrium and right atrium, and this is the right coronary artery and left coronary artery, and the circumflex artery you can see in this diagram. So this is here is the right acute marginal artery. This is the right acute coronary marginal artery, and this is the basically left obtuse marginal coronary artery, and this is the left anterior descending artery you can see in this diagram to understand. So this is the interior side of the heart. So here is I am drawing the front view of the heart, which that is for understanding of the coronary artery. In the case of coronary artery, here is the right atrium and left atrium, and this is the main right coronary artery and left main coronary artery you can see in this diagram, and this is the diagonal coronary artery, and the acute marginal artery is looking like this, and this is the circumflex artery, which that is circumflex artery which that is used for the back movement of the heart you can see. And I will draw a back side of the heart, that is the front, and that was the front, and here is the back. And the back you can see that is the right coronary artery will circumflex artery to move in toward the back side and the posterior descending branch. So here is a posterior descending branch, but the anterior was the another is the you can see the these things, and here is the aorta and right atrium and left atrium you can see in this diagram. So what that means? That means the left and right coronary artery will transmit the blood to the back side of the heart for the oxygenation. So the continuously one beat to give the oxygenated blood toward the heart. So toward the heart, each beat will contain that is. So that means this means the coronary vein is also associated like this. So here is the internal structure we will discuss about. This is the superior vena cava and aortic arch which contain aorta, and here is the right pulmonary artery and left pulmonary artery, while the downside is the red color is showing that the pulmonary vein, because it drain the blood into the heart. So that means this is the vein but contain oxygenated blood as compared to the other vein which that is contain deoxygenated blood. So here is the cyanoatrial node and atrioventricular node. What is the function of the cyanoatrial node and atrioventricular node? Basically it is used for the contraction of the muscle of the heart. So here is the papillary muscle inside used for the muscle contraction, and in this way the blood ejection is through a chordae tendineae, and here is the papillary muscle which that is bound with the atrial wall. So here is the descending aorta and inferior vena cava and superior vena cava you can see as shown in the figure. So Let's begin to understand another things. We will discuss about the cyanoatrial node and atrioventricular node, which that is contained here is the heart, which contain an atrium, contain a cyanoatrial node, while it transmits the nerve impulse for the conduction and the contraction of the heart through a atrioventricular node. And atrioventricular node transmits the nerve impulse throughout the heart wall for contraction is known as the Purkinje fiber. This Purkinje fiber is divided into the right bundle branch and left bundle branch. In this way, the continuously depolarization of the cyanoatrial node will transmit the signal to the myocyte for the contraction. So the contraction will begin through a pacemaker. This is cyanoatrial node is known as the pacemaker. So the generate rhythmical electrical impulse to initiate conduction of the heart muscle is important. And that is why the cyanoatrial node is important for the stimulation of the nerve impulse to move the inside the contraction of the heart for ejection of the blood. So on the other hand, the intercalated discs are present in the myocytes, muscle cells, and the electrical current will transmit through a calcium channel. So the calcium is used for the depolarization, so we are not understanding about that things. But the overview, I can say that the calcium will bind with the troponin with the actin filament of the myocyte, and the myosin will not bind. So in this way the calcium will bind and trigger to contraction. After the contraction, the calcium will move another cell through a calcium channel, and this is the pre-myocyte will transmit the signal through a calcium channel through up toward the post-myocytes. So in this way the complete contraction will be occur of the atrium and ventricle. So that contraction will eject the blood. So in this way I will make another video for contraction cardiac cycle, so you can understand from that. So here I am not understanding that is the anatomical aspect. So let's begin to understand the heart wall. So the heart wall is very complex, you can see, and in this way here you can see that heart wall is very complex, so that is why it is used for the contraction. So the outer layer is known as the fibrous pericardium. So the fibrous pericardium, between the fibrous pericardium and the visceral pericardium or pericardium, which that is the interstitial fluid are present. This interstitial fluid will decrease the friction as well as the contraction of the heart will not damage. So that is why the interstitial fluid will be occur. While on the other hand, if the interstitial fluid will be decreased, so the abrasion as well as the friction will be increased. So this friction will lead to pain of the heart. So here is the visceral and here is the endocardium and myocardium. This myocardium contain a muscle cell. So here you can see the muscle cell, and endocardium is the innermost layer of the heart. So the parietal pericardium is you can see in the purple color. So here let's begin to understand the heart wall, heart valves. So the heart valve we will discuss about. First of all, we will understand about the down cross section of the heart for understanding the ventricle. So the ventricle as well as the cross section for understanding about the layers. So this is the basically is the structure, and that is the great cardiac vein are present the upper side, and the downside the medial cardiac vein. And this medial cardiac vein is collect the deoxygenated blood, while the oxygenated blood is through a the left coronary artery and right coronary artery. And on the other hand, here is the inside is known as the anterior papillary muscle of left ventricle and right ventricle, while the left ventricle is looking like this. Why the left ventricle is so small and thick? The myocytes. So the myocardium will thick. Why? Because the contraction will lead to the whole body cover, and the pressure should be increased. So that is why it is stronger. So in this way, here is the adipose tissue and right ventricle. So important thing is you looking like this is the endocardium. This is the endocardium, which that is the innermost layer of the heart, and this is the myocardium, and this is the epicardium. Myocardium contain muscle, cardiac muscle, and here is the right coronary artery. This is the this is the right coronary artery is the intraventricular branch. This is so here is the intraventricular septum are present, which that is separate the both ventricle. But I am again telling you that is the high myocytes layers are present in the left ventricle for ejection of the blood strongly. So that is why it is the stronger ejection as compared to the right ventricle, because the right ventricle is basically used for the filling of the deoxygenated blood throughout the body, so that is not need to too much pressure. While here you can see this is the basically is the valves from the upper side cross section showing that, and that's upper side is the myocardium, and this is the dark red color showing that the vein and artery of the coronary vein and coronary artery, which that supply the blood to the heart itself. And here is the aortic valves, and this aortic valves is the tricuspid, and the pulmonary valve is the tricuspid also, and this is the left atrioventricular valve. It is the bicuspid. It contains a leaflets, two leaflets, and here is the tricuspid is the tricuspid is the right atrioventricular valve, tricuspid. While here is the wrapping around the fibrous ring of tricuspid valve, you can see in this diagram, and inside is the right fibrous trigone. This trigone means the triangular structure you can see, and the blood circulatory system is required with these all things for understanding you can see. And let's begin to understand the blood circulatory system. What is this? And this is the basically you can see in this diagram, this is the heart which contain aorta and the superior and inferior vena cava, which that is showing in the blue color, while the red color is showing the descending aorta and aortic arch, and that is the pulmonary vein and pulmonary artery, which that is used for the respiration. So the oxygen will be moving to the blood, while the carbon dioxide will remove. So the movement of the blood is toward the heart. So that is the oxygenated blood move from a pulmonary vein, while the pulmonary artery will move out from the heart through a ventricle, that is the ventricle, basically is the right ventricle. So you can see this is the pulmonary circulation and the systemic circulation. Systemic circulation is used for the all tissue bathing with oxygen, while the pulmonary circulation is used for the respiration, for oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange through a hemoglobin. So all these things is basically is the anatomical aspect of the heart. So I hope you are getting this concept, and this is the basically is the structure of heart, which that is I am explaining about that. So thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe.